Introduction. The protagonist travels through the main worlds of Evil Boss and Hell In, and can travel to other worlds. Note: it's not the disorder in Pony Lily. This book is an independent world, an independent story, and a complete story. If you want to watch the animation plot, you need to wait for a while. The protagonist may not appear many times, as other characters also have their own stories, growth, and life. Please forgive me. Chapter 1. Crossing. You are listening at novelfull.audio. There are two people standing off in front of the building next to the port of a city. Captain. Why are you doing this? The person called Captain slowly smiled. There's not so much why, I just killed some scumbags. Besides, they don't hesitate to die, do they? But, the person hesitated. I know what you're going to say, he said and looked at the watch on his left hand. Time is running out, I will send you the process. You are one of the few younger generations I recognize. You have hope and vitality, and I believe you will do even better than me. I have already installed the bomb in this building, and there are still 2 minutes left. Please leave quickly. After speaking, he lit a cigarette and walked into the building. I didn't expect you scumbags to accompany me in my ending, but it's also quite good. In the next moment, a huge explosion and flames engulfed the entire building. The next day, the news report broadcasted this matter. Last night, at the port of Zone 3 in City A, the local police were chasing a group of armed drug traffickers when a huge explosion occurred. Fortunately, there were no innocent citizens injured around, and all 63 of the drug traffickers were affected and killed. Unfortunately, Captain Rowling, the leader of the team, sacrificed himself in the explosion. Here, we pay tribute to the Rowling team who guarded our safety. Divide lines at the same time. In the center of the boundless flames, there is an egg that is more than 1 person tall and constantly trembling. I remember. I died together to eliminate that group of people. So now I am traveling. Congratulations to the host for guessing correctly. Upon reflection, Luo Lin felt relieved. As for time travel, he often reads novels, anime, movies, and more in his daily life. I quickly accepted it. Host. Are you talking? Don't ignore me. Amidst the constant calls of the system, Rowling finally spoke up. Okay, I'm there. You can calm down for a while. Can you introduce me to the current situation? Okay, host. I am assigned an exchange system, which means that by checking in every day, you can receive things from all over the world. Attendance can be divided into daily, weekly, monthly, annual, as well as 10-year, centenary, millennium, and finally 10-year visas. Items that are useful for checking in and out can be exchanged for points, and then useful items can be exchanged from the points mall. 10,000-year visas cannot be exchanged for points, but they will receive special and unique items, abilities, and skills. Is it just one? Isn't the host worried about not living for 10,000 years? Isn't it in a hurry? It's so perfunctory. I'm really sad, moaning. Rowling is speechless. Alright, stop acting. Don't tell me you haven't seen my memory when binding, you should know what kind of person I am. Also, I should be in an egg now, although I don't know how big it is without comparison, it can be confirmed that I am no longer a human. And I can also feel a kind of energy in my body, without comparison, I don't know what strength it is. This can also be confirmed to be in an extraordinary world. Plus, your tone doesn't have any urgency, so it should be very safe outside now. The system was shocked, he knew the host was very powerful, so he bound it. But this is a bit abnormal, right? So what? Host, you can open the system panel to check the status. Don't pay attention to the rigid topic shift of the system. Open the panel. Host. Lorraine race. Dragon status. Unbroken, 30,000 years until the shell is broken. Skill. None. Talent. Soul manipulation. You have a unique talent for manipulating the soul, which you need to experience on your own. Wisdom. Greatly improved learning ability, although not enough for you to read it once, it is also a strong talent. Skill. None. Is it gone? It's gone. This is too rudimentary, isn't it? But it's very clear at a glance, isn't it? Llewellyn fell silent, and suddenly a wave of drowsiness struck. I didn't even have time to ask which world the system was in before I fell asleep. Wake up. Wake up. No, don't sleep. Then I'm the only one in these 30,000 years. You haven't signed in yet. You need me to help you sign. What a sin. Divide lines in a hurry. 30,000 years past this sea of fire has also disappeared, only the egg still stands there. Suddenly, the egg moved. Click. A dragon claw covered in scales broke out of its shell and shrank back. Then 2 dragon claws grabbed the crack and pulled it. I saw a western giant dragon, black-purple with scales resembling flame patterns, emerge from its egg. Ignoring the excited chatter of the system. Turning around, he ate the eggshell behind him clean and licked off the mucus on his body. After slowing down for a while, I finally exhaled gas with a purple-black flame. I've come back to life. I slept so comfortably this night. Hee, slept for over 30,000 years. Can you feel uncomfortable? Really? Then let's talk about the rewards. No, I'm just a tool person, dare you. If you understand me that way, there's nothing I can do about it. After saying it, he spread out his hand. Whispering. Stop, let's get down to business first. Okay. Backpack. Sun, crystal nucleus. Analysis. After absorption, the energy of the star can be controlled. Note. Extremely dangerous, unable to withstand it may explode and die. Boundary type quenching agent. Analysis. The full name is World Thunder Inducing Potion, which uses the method of inducing boundary thunder to forcibly quench the body, lasting for 1 hour. Note. Extremely dangerous, unable to withstand it can cause the body to explode. Note. Boundary lightning is a means of clearing the world and threatening its normal operation. The higher the world level, the stronger the boundary lightning. The heart of immortality. Analysis. The breeding of a high-level world can make any creature immortal. Note. Only the body can, if you are tough enough, you can integrate into the soul. If your will is not firm, it will break the soul. This method is extremely dangerous and not recommended. A pile of various basic, intermediate, and advanced magical materials, tools, and potions. A pile of various magical minerals and crystals, a pile of various clothing, a pile of various food, a pile of various skills, a pile of various gold coins, calligraphy and painting, antiques, and artworks. Is it gone? It's gone. No, let's not talk about the first 3 deadly things for now. Why are the rest all piled up? You've been sleeping for more than 30,000 years. 30,000, do you know how I got through these 30,000 years? None of my previous hosts have lived for more than 30,000 years. Also, that's because I was too lazy to calculate and used piles to represent it, it's just too much. My question. Just no. Open the points mall now. After reading it, I feel like this points mall is useless. Basically, everything inside has been checked in. How come there are only things from this world, the agreed upon heavens and all realms? The host is like this. Because you are still asleep, it defaults to being an item in this world. Okay, what is the exchange rate for recycling? If you exchange it for points, you will lose 10%. So many. Not much, you have to let me earn some money. Okay. By the way, I'm no longer a human, so I can't call my old name. Let me think about what I should call. How about calling it Dog Egg? It's easy to raise a lowly reputation. My question. Once it's decided, call it. Chapter 2. Mohr. You are listening at novelfull.audio. I've decided, I'll be called Mohr in the future. Host, forgive me for not having much culture, I don't know what the name means. It doesn't make much sense, it's just that I'm no longer human and I just want to change my name casually. By the way, I haven't asked you which world this is yet. This is the world of the extremely evil boss and the Hell Inn, just before the plot. I have a bad premonition. Specifically, how long ago was the plot? If the prince and Belize meet, there are still 20 more. Fortunately, it's okay. Although it's been 20 years, it's still very fast for me now. Although I don't want to break your beautiful fantasies, I still have to face reality, it is indeed 200,000 years. Looking ahead, Lucifer is still an angel and hell is still chaotic. Working hard now, and with my assistance, becoming the Emperor of Hell is still possible. Mohr was speechless for a moment. I'm tired and don't want to work hard anymore. In this life, I plan to lie flat and improve my strength if I have nothing to do. I'll find a place with a good environment to be a salted fish. Are you serious? Okay, I believe it. Let's not talk about that anymore, let's introduce the current situation. The host is located in Hell, now in the disorderly land of later generations, closest to the Ring of Anger and the Ring of Pride. Stop. Tell me about the current situation, what you just said is that it will take another 200,000 years. There's nothing to introduce either. There are no leaders in heaven and no humans on earth yet. Hell is now a chaotic time of the jungle. Gone. I don't care about heaven. What about other demon kings? Satan, Beelzebub, Leviathan, Asmontis, and so on. They are either not born at this time or not very strong yet. Mohr sighed and felt tired. I'm busy now. To survive in this world, one must become stronger. Demons, angels, and others all know how to calculate, so one must be so powerful that all calculations are useless. Mohr, who made up his mind, had the system recycle all the useless things, such as minerals, magical materials, treasures, etc., and all the active skills were exchanged for points. I left behind some clothes and magic books. Obtained over 700 million points in total. Are you foolish, host? Don't even want skills. Something that is not oneself is always not. Mohr slowly exhaled a breath. Use the undead heart and engage in soul fusion. Host. You're crazy. This is a pain in the soul, I can't shield it, only rely on your own will to bear it. Use. What a lunatic. Monster. If you die, I'll have to find another new host, wasting 30,000 years on you in vain. After venting, the system began to worry about Mohr, even though he was speaking from the bottom of his heart. If Mohr can withstand it and integrate successfully, then he will definitely be a strong person standing at the top in the future. At the moment when Mohr began to merge, the pain of soul shattering and reassembling had already made him speechless in pain, constantly trembling on the ground. Finally, after experiencing 5 hours of torture, they successfully merged. Mohr, who had just risen from the ground, couldn't help but gasp heavily. Congratulations to the host for successfully fusing the immortal heart, achieving unprecedented improvements in resilience and negative resistance. To what extent can it be achieved? The resilience is equivalent to the demon Buo in the Dragon Ball, with resistance reaching immunity to most toxins and curses. Isn't it completely immune? I'm a bit disappointed. Be content, that's the vast majority of immunity. Mohr paused for a moment before speaking again, use the world-type quenching agent. Host, I can immunize you from the pain you experience when experiencing boundary thunder. No need. Mohr's voice was unusually firm. I can't bear this pain, don't be a strong person anymore, I don't deserve it. The system was shocked, no previous host had such a hard shoulder. I have to say he is a lunatic and also a ruthless person. After the massive thunderstorm ended, not long after, a dazzling light like the sun appeared again. This surrounded demons from 100 miles away. After the demons arrived, they saw a dragon lying under a large pit, less than 3 meters in size. If I could eat him, maybe I could take it one step closer. Many weak demons approach Mohr with such thoughts. And those with strong capabilities are watching from the sidelines. Ding, congratulations to the host for obtaining the passive skill, Lilly, which can be immune to lightning other than boundary lightning, and can guide boundary lightning and improve boundary lightning resistance. Congratulations to the host for obtaining the passive skill, Sun, which can control and store all stellar energy, including supernovae, blue giants, etc. Ding, congratulations to the host for awakening a new talent called Devouring, which can devour other creatures or non-creatures to gain power and save for conversion. Host, get up. The commotion just now was too loud, attracting demons from other places. Just as the demons around were approaching less than 10 meters, Mohr slowly stood up. Mohr suddenly opened his eyes and saw that his previously purple and golden eyes were instantly covered by a layer of black sunburn. Scared, the surrounding demons took a step back. I only heard the dragon in front of me chuckle. So, the massacre begins. At the beginning, the demons were still besieging Mohr, until he began to eat the demons faster and faster. Scared, some demons began to flee, but before they could run far, black flames ignited on their bodies. In just an instant, the fleeing demons turned into ashes. Now. Either I'm full, or you can kill me. It's a simple multiple-choice question, isn't it? In the following time, many demons had already knelt down to pray, praying that they were not the next, praying that the monster in front of them had eaten enough. After a while, Mohr finally stopped. In my opinion, the demons who originally came from the underworld are now less than 1/10. Mohr, who had stopped, burned the bloodstains on his body with black flames and transformed into a dragon-like figure. He then exchanged a luxurious robe from the system. After looking around, he said, "Thank you all for supporting me so much. I know some demons didn't take action against me, and I am also very grateful to you for giving me this face. So I'll say goodbye first, then we have a chance to see each other again." After speaking, he flapped his wings and left. Afterwards, the demons who escaped by chance quickly escaped, except for 2 demons who were the last to leave. How do you feel? Have you ever beaten him? I don't know, this person's destructive power is similar to our combined strength, but we don't know about recovery and resistance. If it's a life and death battle, we may not necessarily be opponents. If we separate, we will die. When have you been so cautious, Samuel? Okay, just an objective evaluation. Anyway, if you're right, let's talk about it. Do you think so, Satan? It's getting more and more interesting to have given birth to such a monster. Then the 2 demons laughed and left. Chapter 3. Palace. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Mohr flew at lightning speed in the sky and observed below. Where is the host going? Find a quieter place. Finally, after flying for over 2 hours, Mohr found a valley. That's it, system. Is there anything that can locate the creatures in this valley? In passive skills without recycling, a perceptual ability called electromagnetic field is sufficient. But what does the host mainly do? Where one sleeps, how can others snore? After speaking, Mohr learned this skill. I only feel that there is a huge spider web covering my feet, and no object inside can escape its perception. This feels really good. As soon as he finished speaking, Mohr began to clean up the demons in this valley. After 7 days of cleaning, the demons in this valley died and fled, leaving only some beasts with low intelligence. During this period, Mohr also found a snow-white bird egg that was over 40 centimeters long. Is this egg in the system the egg of the demon royal family? It's like this, host. There is no concept of a royal demon now, it's a term for a powerful native demon later on. However, this understanding is also correct. How about the host? Eat it. You who have the talent for devouring will definitely become stronger. Mohr looked at the egg in front of him, suppressing his desire to devour it. Sighed. Forget it, I don't want to be alone in this world. Host. You still have me. System, how long does it take for him to hatch? It is expected to take 70,000 years, but with sufficient energy, it can shorten the time by half. It's your turn to wait this time, let you also experience it. Did you forget that I can leave as I please? The system is instantly speechless, gone. How could you forget about this matter? Why does it take longer than my incubation time? When you cross over, there are only 30,000 years left, and I don't know how many years you have before. Mohr smiled and sat in the previously selected open space, which was where he wanted to build his residence. System, list my passive skills that I have developed. Congratulations to the host for obtaining 31 passive perception skills, 94 combat skills, 89 weapon skills, and 27 profession skills. Can the system help me integrate it? It's too much and too complicated. Ding, successful integration of passive skills. Perceived skills are collectively referred to as mind and eye. Analysis. It can be divided into active perception and passive perception. Active is, specialized in a certain aspect or thing. Passive is, anything that causes harm or harm to oneself can be perceived. Master of melee, with all melee skills and experience, proficient in using them. Weapon master, all weapon combat experience. Master of craftsmanship, experience in all skill categories. Alchemist, a master who enriches theoretical and practical knowledge. A culinary master, unparalleled culinary skills. Art master, knows all art like the palm of his hand and uses it. Ah. I'm quite satisfied with the first 4, but what are the last 2? Do you want me to be a chef or an artist? Can I survive in this place where demons eat demons? That host. Think about it, there's nothing delicious right now, only meat grilled or raw. As a foodie before your death, were you sure you could tolerate it? Well done, you convinced me. Why don't I feel anything? There are so many masters who are extremely passive, but it seems like I don't know anything now. It's like this, these passives are used to increase perception. Simply put, they are accelerators. I understand, I just need to learn it myself. Fortunately, I didn't recycle the books. I thought they were meant to pass the time, but it seems they can make me stronger. The system will move them all to the world of Chen Long's adventures. There's nothing in that world that can help you, right? Even historical records are only useful for their own world. Mohr spread his hands and said helplessly, I don't know how to build a house. You can't let me live on an empty land, can you? I understand, you need a tool person, right? Mohl. Ghost mask. 10,000 points each, summon a ghost soldier and strengthen the body, Terra mask. 30,000 points, summon all kinds of ghost soldiers and strengthen the body, Shadow Kingdom. 10 million points, after purchasing, you have ownership and become the King of Shadows. All creatures within the Kingdom of Shadows must obey your commands. Mohr looked at the price and his over 700 million points, couldn't help but laugh. It's quite cheap. If it weren't for the system's lack of eyes, it would have turned white-eyed long ago. Is this cheap? You don't know, it's a big prize. If it weren't for signing in for 30,000 years, you wouldn't be able to afford it. On average, it's only 1 to 10 points per day. Hua. I should really thank you. Just know. Mohr couldn't help but exchange the ghost mask and shadow kingdom. He can clearly feel a world where everything is under his control. Mohr nodded, it was indeed good. Immediately summon the 9 masks and inject the newly acquired shadow power into them. In a burst of black mist, 9 shadow generals and their leader Terra condensed their bodies. After seeing Mohr, 10 people all knelt down on one knee to show their loyalty. I'm Terra, I'm Nika, I'm Cabo, I'm Minta, I'm Risu, I'm Ika, I'm Samo, I'm Bart, I'm Lazo, I'm Manny. To our master. The great king of shadows. Offering loyalty. Looking at the 10 people in front of him, Mohr nodded in response. Just as I was about to see them build a house for me, I heard it. Instead of letting them build it themselves, you might as well buy one yourself in the mall. Dot. One dragon, one system remained silent. Gone. You didn't say it earlier in the system. You didn't ask, did you? Mohr covered his face, he really took advantage of this sand sculpture system. Later, Mohr spent 5 million points to buy a mansion with defense, the kind where everything was taken with him. Why not buy a better one? Because there's no money. Even more advanced ones require a starting point of 10 million, and even 10 million can buy something of the same level as the Shadow Kingdom. It is not appropriate to spend so much on a place to live. Okay, it's just that Mohr is heartbroken. Despite having over 700 million points, I still can't bear to part with it. After all, Mohr rented a 50 square meter house before his death, and spending 5 million is already enough. Mohr asked them to step down first, and then placed the newly purchased house on the open ground, accompanied by incredibly dazzling special effects that appeared before his eyes. Just in the shocked gaze of the ghost generals, a magnificent black and gold palace appeared before their eyes. There are all kinds of things in the palace, such as gardens, swimming pools, dormitories, laboratories, libraries, everything. Mohr calmly gave orders to the ghost generals. Your responsibility in the future is to protect this place and not let anyone disturb me. The generals answered in unison, yes. Subsequently, Mohr walked into the palace in awe of their eyes. System. UTMD, come out and explain it. Chapter 4. Training. You are listening at novelfull.audio. System. Can you explain it to me? Why would there be so much noise when I put a house? I still want to develop well. I'm sorry. In the past, the special effects were set up a bit exaggerated in order to improve the power. Do you call this a bit? You can see it from at least 100 miles around. Close these fancy things immediately. Okay, my question. During the conversation with the system, Mohr also strolled around the palace. I have to say the true value of these 5 million flowers. Going to the bathroom again, it should not be said that the bathhouse is more appropriate. After washing up there, Mohr went straight to the library. Put all the books obtained from previous check that I in there, and then start learning. Mohr studied books on both magic and other subjects. Because he knows that in order to survive in this world, he needs to know everything, even if he doesn't. But it would be even better if I knew. Mohr, who was constantly learning, spent several years watching and remembering it. You should know that Mohr has the talent of wisdom, which shows the difficulty of having so many books in this library. In recent years, many demons have also come here, intending to take possession of this palace. Unfortunately, they were all blocked by the ghost generals. There are several particularly strong ones that General Ghost Shadow cannot solve, and Mohr will personally take action. I don't know if it's a dragon now, but he has a particularly hot temper. With just one move, he severely injured those powerful demons, which is not as cruel as outsiders. Afterwards, while those demons were on the brink of death and still alive, they were eaten by Mohr like this. This cruel action was also spread by those lucky escapees. Because General Ghost Shadow kept calling out His Majesty in front of outsiders, Mohr became known as the disorderly tyrant. And the surrounding area of this palace is also known as the disorderly land, which means there are no restrictions as long as it is not close to the valley where the palace is located. When Mohr learned about this, he was also speechless. The system is going crazy with laughter. Ha ha ha. I'm laughing to death. Captain Luo, who served the country and the people in his previous life, actually had the nickname Disorderly Tyrant, which sounds like a villain. Ha ha ha. Mohr let out a long sigh. I don't want to either. At the critical moment of learning the right path, that magical rune was immediately interpreted successfully. It was ruined by their commotion. Can you say I'm not angry? Plus, I haven't eaten anything for a long time, so I ate them. Not to mention they're quite delicious. Host, are you addicted to eating? Perhaps it's because of devouring this talent, but that's not important. System, is there something that can increase combat experience? A simulated training ground is sufficient, but it's very expensive. Let me take a look. The minimum configuration requires 10 million points. The top-of-the-line model actually costs 200 million points. System. Why don't you go grab it? Host. It's already very cheap, and this thing can be upgraded. Besides, this thing can't be used only once. You only need a mid-range version now, and at most, it's just a high-end version in this world. Can your top configuration be used by Pengu from Honghuang? Don't make a fuss, we're not one system. Can you explain it in detail? Simulated training field. When used, consciousness can be pulled into a virtual training field with a time ratio of 1 to 100. The system will match enemies and terrain based on the host's combat experience, ensuring that the host has experience in any combat situation. Note: configuration is only the limit to withstand force. Mohr reluctantly bought a mid-range training ground and just wanted to go out for a break to relieve his heartbreak. As soon as he left the library, Nika knelt down on one knee to report. Master, when we ordered the ghost soldiers to explore the valley, we discovered several magic ore mines. As you did not allow anyone to disturb us before, we did not report this matter. Well, have you started mining yet? Lord Terra has ordered the collection of a portion. Before Nika could finish speaking, Terra quickly knelt down in front of Mohr. Sorry, Master. I secretly allowed it to mine some for future exchange. Please forgive me, Master. Mohr nodded. Terra, you did a great job. Although it's chaotic here, the future will definitely be orderly. What kind of magic ore are they? Show me. After Terra answered yes, she summoned 3 ghostly soldiers. Seeing each ghost soldier holding a large piece of magic ore. They are Aishi steel, Siger metal, and molybdenum. Aishi steel can make top-notch weapons and armor, while Siger metal is a great metal for transmitting magic. The last one, Mo mine, is a great stabilizer in alchemy. Not bad, not bad. These ores are both good for personal use and exchange. By the way, I'm going to sleep. Don't let anyone disturb me. I'll hand over the authority of the Shadow Kingdom to you first. If someone bothers me again, then there's no need for you to exist. The ghost generals trembled and answered yes, before leaving. After defeating the ghost general, Mohr arrived at his bedroom, which he had never used before. Although he hasn't used it for a long time, Mohr is still very reassured by the ghost soldiers who have the ability to handle household chores. Mohr pounced on the large bed made of advanced magical materials. Even a dragon man over 2 meters tall and more is more than enough to roll on it. How comfortable. Well, after all, what about 5 million? By using the training ground and improving my practical experience, I won't have any shortcomings. The next moment, Mohr used this training ground. Just in his days, he arrived at a dojo where there were various races. Ding, welcome to the training ground. Please choose the direction you want to improve in. It's quite user-friendly. Mohr thought for a moment and decided to fight based on his passive skills. In the next moment, Mohr arrived in a desert, and a phantom like Mohr appeared in front of him. Without saying much, Mohr rushed forward directly. In the first few decades, Mohr was constantly suppressed and had to rely on his recovery ability to resist, and he was also killed several times during this period. Being bombarded by the extreme solar flame and the guided boundary thunder, there was no residue left, and he died directly. It took another few decades before we could finally fight back and forth. Mohr felt that he was just a sand eagle who had underestimated these passive masters before. In the end, Mohr didn't know how long it had been. Finally, the training ground was cleared. After coming out, Mohr covered his head and let out a long sigh. Gone, how difficult it is. Then he walked out of the room and casually chatted with Tara after personally inspecting her. Tara, how are those mining areas doing? Master. A small amount of mining has been carried out and armor and weapons have been made. Subsequently, Tara took out a breastplate and a long sword from the shadows, all made of ash steel mixed with other high-strength metals, with magical runes on them. Mohr experimented and it was indeed a masterpiece. If half of the demons who besieged him at birth were wearing this kind of thing, it would be impossible for him to leave easily. But when it comes to him now, we can only hee-hee. Then Mohr used the power of the sun to easily vaporize his chest armor and long sword. Next to Tara, feeling a hint of power leaked by Mohr, she almost knelt down. Tara knew her master had become stronger, but it was a bit too scary. This makes Tara extremely envious. He can become so strong wherever he sleeps, and he also wants to. If Mohr heard this, he would definitely give Tara a big eye and let him try the terror of the 4 high-level masters. By the way, Tara, how long did I sleep? Specifically, it will be 16,734 years, 3 months, and 5 days in total. Chapter 5. Little Master. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Gone. Why is it so long? If we compare it to 100, it would be over 1.5 million years. I'll stamp it. System. System. Get me out of here. The system yawned and answered calmly. What's wrong? What's going on? I've been on the training ground for over 1.5 million years. Don't you even remind me. Hi, I thought something was going on, that's it. Host, don't you get so excited. Can you recall if there's no feeling of time passing by? Mohr recalled for a moment, as if it was indeed so. After all, if you want to avoid being killed by your illusions, you need to focus your attention. Isn't it just that you can't feel the passage of time? Mohr sighed. Okay, but next time you need to remind me. Otherwise, this will be over 15,000 years, and no one can bear it. By the way, what about the reward for check.in? If it doesn't have much value, just exchange it for points. Mohr took a look and found nothing good except for the gravity, signed over 10,000 years, some books, and some props, as well as over 3 billion points. Gravity. Note. One of the 4 fundamental forces that make up the world. To be effective, it depends on your knowledge reserves. When Mohr saw something, he remembered that he had picked up an egg from the demon royal family. Subsequently, Mohr went to a room next to his bedroom and placed an incubation room over a meter large next to his bed. Advanced incubation room. It can incubate all eggs that can be accommodated, regardless of race. Ensure the normal development and survival of the fetus, and enhance its natural talent. Mohr glanced at the high-end incubation room worth over 6 million yuan in the mall and nodded. Afterwards, the eggs were put in and filled with energy. That's right, this incubator is more expensive than this palace. The system was surprised. Don't be fooled by Mohr's over 900 million points, but he is really stingy. Even the robe on his body only has 10 points. What else do you say? You don't like wearing clothes with magical defenses? No. Host. When were you so willing to spend money? Just for this egg. What does this egg mean? That's my son. Isn't it normal to spend money on your own child? Isn't he your own? What's the matter? Since it's fate that I found out, I've been wanting to have a child for a long time. Unfortunately, I've been busy with work in my past life and haven't even had a partner. Ah. I won't say it anymore. Talking too much is like tears. The system has been left speechless. Mohr looked at the egg in front of him and touched his chin. Murmured, if I weren't by my side, wouldn't this little guy have no one to protect him? I can't even count on those useless people like General Ghost. Subsequently, under the stunned expression of the system, Mohr spent 100 million yuan to buy a Hypageddon without blinking an eye. That's right, it's the Hypageddon in the Ultraman world who can fight against the mysterious 401v1 man, but the one Mohr bought can only be said to be strong and not weak. At the next moment, Hypageddon, condensed from the substandard black mist of despair, appeared in front of Mohr and knelt down on one knee to bow to his master. Salute to you, master. Mohr observed the 2-meter-tall Hypageddon in front of him, feeling that although he was not as strong as himself, he was enough. As long as you can speak, it's easy to handle. Your next task is to protect the little master, understand? Hypageddon looked at the egg and nodded. Understood. Later, General Ghost was summoned over. The generals trembled in their hearts as they watched the sea of fear and despair emanating outwards. They know that their master is not a kind person, and feel that their status is not guaranteed, with the consequence of being destroyed by their master. But it seems impossible to defeat this newcomer, as it feels like we will also be killed in a flash. Only Terra can come out for questioning. Master, I wonder who this is. His name is Hypageddon and he is responsible for protecting your little master. I know your advantage lies in your intelligence-gathering ability. Now, the palace is being protected by Hypageddon, and you are responsible for collecting intelligence later. Mohr was afraid that the breath emanating from Hypageddon would affect his son, so he used magic to cover it up. After the generals answered yes, they couldn't help but feel puzzled. Little master. They looked at the eggs in the hatching room behind Mohr and then turned to look at the others. Although there are doubts, I dare not express them. Until the generals left and walked to a quiet place, someone couldn't help but speak up. Does the master have a child? Who is the mother of the child, or is the master a female? Terra glared at the person who spoke. Just keep talking. The master's situation is not something we can speculate on. The other generals nodded and said yes, while others sighed. Speaking of which, that person named Hypageddon is really strong. I feel like we can't even fight together after gaining the Shadow World permission. The generals all nodded after listening. Mohr finally lived the peaceful life he wanted. Unfortunately, not long after, unexpected guests came. Chapter 6. Bert. You are listening at novelfull.audio. 1 month later. Mohr is eating the giant monsters that Hypageddon has hunted back from elsewhere in the restaurant. While eating, listen to the intelligence collected by Terra, because ghost soldiers can blend into the shadows. As long as they are not detected up close, even Mohr cannot detect without his own perception. Master, there are already some powerful demons occupying the territory to gather power. Except for some places with powerful monsters where there are no demon forces, there is already an embryonic form of order. It is expected to enter a war led by various powerful demons soon. Mohr calmly finished his last bite and nodded, indicating that he knew, and then asked Terra to step back and continue collecting intelligence. It's best to collect the names of those leading demons. After speaking, Mohr left. I don't know if it's because I turned into a dragon. Eating the food made by the ghost soldier myself is just something I can eat, and it completely doesn't meet my requirements. System, do you have that kind of good chef? I can't always cook and eat on my own. I'm already a disorderly tyrant, how much will I lose? The system is speechless. Why are you so persistent when you don't even need to eat? You don't understand that, right? It's called enjoying life. You can't just study and hone your skills all day long. That would be exhausting. My goal is to savor fish every day and only do what I want to do. Okay, there is a type of contract demon that may meet your requirements. Let me take a look. So Mohr saw the contract demon mentioned by the system in the mall. Contract devil. An exclusive demon who can freely choose its profession and customize its appearance, making it the best tool for humans. Price. 5,000 plus, the specific price depends on the requirements. Mohr chose a demon in the culinary master profession. Due to the need for additional points for appearance, stingy Mohr has only one requirement, which is not to be ugly. I spent a total of 20,000 points. Subsequently, there was a crooked sheep horn with a fox face, brown fur, and a plush tail. A male demon dressed in a high-end chef's uniform appeared in front of Mohr. Salute to you, my master. Mohr looked at the demon in front of him. Although his strength was not very strong, he did look good. Well, that's great. What's your name? Then the demon respectfully replied. I don't have a name. If possible, please give me a name. Let me think. Since you are my chef, let's call you Bert, which means new beauty. I hope the food you make can make me feel good. Bert looked gratefully at Mohr. Thank you for giving me your name. I swear with my soul that I will make food that satisfies you. Mohr nodded in satisfaction. You are my servant now, so there's no need to call me master. Just call me master. Later, I'll have the ghost soldier guide you to familiarize yourself with this place. If you need anything later, just let them know and they will meet all your requirements. Yes, sir. Then Mohr left, leaving only the place where Bert was familiar with his future work. Mohr arrived at the garden behind the palace, found a place he liked, and sat down to start reading the new books he had signed in. After a while, Tara came to report. Mohr continued reading without lifting his head. Master, there are 2 demons seeking to see you. Well, I got it, let them in. Time goes back 2 hours ago. 2 demons with strong breath arrived in front of the valley. Are you sure it's here? If those demons are right, then the disorderly tyrant lives here. I just don't know if it's as powerful as rumored. By the way, haven't we found that dragon before? It's so strong since birth, and if we pull it together, it will definitely be a powerful helper. The 2 demons who spoke were Satan and Samuel, who had witnessed the birth of Mohr before. The 2 demons had not yet entered the valley when they were sensed by Hypageddon and then appeared in front of them. My master doesn't like to be disturbed. If you 2 take another step forward, I will take action against you. Feeling the powerful aura of Hypageddon no weaker than theirs, the 2 demons exchanged a glance and seemed to have found the right place. So Satan spoke up and said, Your Excellency, we are here to find the disorderly tyrant and have something important to discuss. Please convey it to us. Hypageddon ignored and still said without emotion. The last time. If you don't leave, I'll take action. The 2 demons looked at each other again. It seems that not having a fight is not enough. Subsequently, Samuel's body expanded in a circle and rushed towards Hypageddon, then punched him. Hypageddon lifted the pliers and felt a tremendous force coming from the block. That's because Samuel utilized every inch of his strength and was able to unleash his full potential. Hypageddon was also surprised, feeling like he couldn't stop it at all. I thought Samuel, who had a swollen body, was the kind of person who relied on brute force to fight. I didn't expect his skills to be so terrifying, and he was not at the same level as those he had killed before. Then Hypageddon turned back to release his strength, and 1 demon and 1 monster separated. Looking at each other, both sides believed that they had encountered a few opponents who could fight with all their might. 1 demon and 1 monster were all excited. Samuel turned to Satan and said, I'm going to face him alone. It's been a long time since I've met such a match that suits my taste. Don't disturb my battle. Chapter 7. Conversation. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Hapajitan was the first to charge towards Samel, and as he approached, he raised his hand and punched him with a straight punch. Samel calmly lifted his head to block, and then took the opportunity to clamp onto the arm of Hapajitan. Hapajitan, on the other hand, used the momentum he had just received to tighten his arms and turn around with a side kick. After Samel released his hand, he blocked it with his arm. Use this side kick to flip backwards and release the force. One demon and one monster looked at each other at a distance. The probing has been completed, and both sides have top-notch skills. Samel's advantage lies in his strength, while the inability to maximize, Hapajitan, has an advantage in speed. Both sides have their trumps, and it is impossible to determine who will win this battle. At the next moment, the two charged towards each other. Samel's punches rained like raindrops on Hapajitan, who used his speed advantage to dodge. Samel seized the opportunity and took advantage of the fact that Hapajitan had just dodged, and when the old force had already passed and the new force had not yet emerged, he directly punched Hapajitan in the chest with a strong and heavy punch. In an instant, Hapajitan was thrown out. After a moment of delay, Hapajitan charged towards Samel again, and this time it was Hapajitan who relied on his speed advantage to beat Samel. After a battle of punches between a demon and a monster, the wings behind Hapajitan instantly spread and their speed increased by more than 10 times. In an instant, he came behind Samel and lifted his pliers to hit his back, ready to strike and solve Samel. Samel felt uneasy as soon as he saw Hapajitan disappear, and his hair stood up behind him, only feeling the crisis of death approaching. Samel disregarded the internal injuries caused by the change of moves and forcefully twisted his body. In the end, Hapajitan only penetrated Samel's right shoulder. After seeing that he didn't hit a single blow, Hapajitan instantly retreated. The two parted ways, and one demon and one monster knew it was time to play cards and engaged in a final battle. Samel's swollen body showed a faint magical radiance, while Hapajitan flapped his wings at high speed. Just as their momentum reached its peak, a wall composed of black shadows appeared between them. Just as the wall appeared, Terra appeared not far away. The master has allowed the two demons to enter. After listening, Hapajitan folded his wings, while Samel changed back to his original form, with one demon and one monster simultaneously retracting their momentum. Seeing this, Terra couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief, afraid that these two monsters would fight again. Then, led by Terra, a few people passed through the luxurious palace and arrived at the garden where Mohr was located. Mohr, who had already been waiting here, had Bert brew the spiritual tea that had been checked in from the system before. Not long after, a few people arrived in front of Mohr. Mohr pointed to the seat in front of him, gesturing for the two demons to sit down and say. After seeing the two demons sit down, Mohr turns his head to look at Hapajitan. After seeing his master looking at him, Hapaji immediately knelt down on one knee and said. Sorry, master. Before Hapajitan could finish speaking, Mohr raised his hand and interrupted. I know you have done your best, and you have already performed very well as someone who cannot be maximized. Subsequently, Mohr raised his hand and used a healing spell to heal the injuries sustained by Hapajitan. You go down first, I have something to talk to these two guests about. Afterwards, Hapajitan responded and left. After seeing Hapajitan leave, Mohr looked at Samel. Do you need my help? Samel was stunned for a moment, not expecting the demon known as the disorderly tyrant to heal him. Samel is not a timid person, nor is he afraid of Mohr's actions. If possible. Immediately, Mohr waved his hand again and healed the injury on Samel's shoulder. After seeing Samel's injury heal, Satan next to him spoke up. I didn't expect you to be a disorderly tyrant. It seems that Satan recognized Mohr as the dragon he was born before. Mohr chuckled lightly. I know you were also present at the time, and I really appreciate that you didn't take action against me. Satan shook his head and smiled. If we had acted against you at that time, perhaps we would have become your food that day. Then Satan picked up his cup and took a light sip, then he was taken aback. I couldn't help but sigh. It's truly a demon that has been called a disorderly tyrant for over 10,000 years since birth. There are really many good things. Mohr chuckled lightly. Don't you worry about me poisoning this tea. Satan shook his head. I can see that you are a very arrogant demon, and you don't even bother to do so, do you? Mohr shook his head and remained silent. He was now a dragon, and there was also arrogance that belonged exclusively to the dragon. But he doesn't disdain poisoning, but the two in front of him are not enough for him to do so. You said something wrong. Oh. Which sentence? I was just born in hell, not a demon. I am a noble dragon. Satan smiled and then took another sip of tea. Upon seeing this, Mohr spoke up. If you like it, you can take some with you when you leave. Satan is not a twisted demon either. Thank you, tyrant. To get to the point, what is the purpose of your visit this time? Chapter 8. Calculations in Negotiations. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The purpose of our visit this time is to invite. Oh. Invitation. That's right, we invite you to join us. This hell already needs some order, so we gathered some powerful demons to form an alliance. Subsequently, Satan used magic to create a map that pointed to the location of the 7 rings in later generations. After clearing this place, establish an orderly environment. Mohr pondered, and Satan was not in a hurry, just waiting for Mohr's response. Not long after, Mohr spoke up. I'm not very interested in this proposal. You should know that as long as it doesn't appear in my valley, I won't mind. I'm very kind. Upon hearing this sentence, both the two people on site and the system twitched their lips. Satan and his wife needed patience, but the system didn't need it, so the system began to complain about their fatal problems. Are you kind? You were just born and ate and killed, and tens of thousands of demons died in your hands. You also forgot about the demons that interrupted your learning when you ate them raw. How did you call yourself a disorderly tyrant? Don't tell me, you don't know. TSK, system. Negotiating, please shut up first. After silencing the system, he spoke to Satan. Don't beat around the bush, just say whatever you have. I can get any benefits from it. After calming down, Satan's lips slightly curved when he heard these words. Shuangquai, since the tyrant is not interested in the territory, what about magic mines and other magic resources? As long as you join us, you can have 20% ownership. Mohr shook his head. Let's not be so insincere, at least 90%. That's impossible, 90% is too much, at most 30%. So the two of them started discussing in this proportion. In the end, Mohr ended with 45% plus priority supply rights. Since the benefits have already been discussed, should I also know the specific plan and personnel configuration? The plan is to fight each other's own battles and eliminate all those around us who are dissatisfied. If we die during this period. Satan did not continue speaking, of course Mohr also knew. If death is something that no one will care about, and if one dies so easily, they don't deserve to be the ultimate winner. What can be confirmed is that besides the 3 of us, there are more than 10 demons. Mohr nodded, less than he expected. Then Mohr spoke up. Do you have a specific time? We can't keep dragging on like this, can we? Satan nodded in agreement. Specifically, it will be in 20,000 years. By then, we should have cleared up those simple forces. Let's take a look together and see if there are any other forces. Mohr smiled. It's simple, but an effective plan. So, have a pleasant cooperation. Happy cooperation. Then the two shook hands. By the way, let me introduce myself. My name is Mohr. I haven't asked for your names yet. My name is Satan, and he is Samuel. Mohr raised his eyebrows, not expecting that the one in front of him would be the future Lord of the Ring of Wrath, while the one next to him was the Fury Demon. After chatting for a while, the two demons of Satan left with the 2 boxes of tea given by Mohr. After the 2 demons left, the system spoke up to inquire. Host, are these 2 trustworthy? Of course not trustworthy. The system is confused. If it's not credible, then you still promise them. Mohr shook his head. You don't understand that anymore. The previous negotiations were all just arguments, and the amount you get in the end depends on who is faster. Host, you've confused me. Mohr sighed, the system was also a bit foolish. Simply put, before achieving the goal of clearing hell, they were my most reliable teammates. After achieving the goal, it was our struggle, and these 20,000 years were not just time for cleaning, but also showcasing our power to other demons. I lost it. Are there so many calculations? I think you're just talking about some very simple things, right? Ah, it depends on intelligence. This is hell, you wouldn't be so naive, would you? The system is automatically shut down and doesn't speak. Mohr also ignored him. Mohr opened the mall and glanced at his remaining points of over 800 million. Then I bought a Dimension World. Dimension World, priced at 80 million points, a world that only you can control, in which you are an omnipotent god. Subsequently, this dimensional world only covered this valley. It's not that it can't be expanded anymore, it's already enough. Now the entire valley is located in a plane interlayer, and there is no need to worry about enemies directly damaging it from the outside. Mohr uses this dimensional world to merge the Shadow Kingdom, and all creatures in the Shadow Kingdom can be several levels stronger than before. Now the Ghost Soldier is not just a flower rack that shatters with just a touch. Mohr once again transmitted the message to EP1-10. In the future, you can maximize battles. However, it's best for you to cultivate until you can unleash all your strength regardless of your body type. This is not the universe you used to be in, there aren't so many enemies that can be maximized. Upon receiving the transmission, EP1-10 knelt on one knee towards the direction of the palace. A respectful answer. Yes. Master. After a comprehensive upgrade, Mohr also felt it was time to go out and show his face. Since you have given me the title of Disorderly Tyrant, I cannot let you call me wrong. Chapter 9. Blood-Eating Demon. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. After hearing Mohr's summoning order, EP1-10 and the Ghost Generals arrived in the main hall of the palace. Mohr sat on the throne, looking at the few people in front of him. In terms of high-end combat power, there is only one, but he still needs to guard the palace. Although General Ghost Shadow is not weak, he will give away his head when encountering high-end combat power. Looking at Mohr, who was lost in thought, everyone dared not disturb him. Just silently waiting. Just as Mohr was thinking about how to strengthen the Ghost Generals, the system spoke up. Host, haven't you fused a dimensional world? Just give them some permissions. After listening to the system, Mohr's spirit flashed. Sure, system. It seems like I underestimated you. Before the system could speak, Mohr ordered. EP1-10 will continue to guard the palace, General Ghost, and join me in battle in a month. Everyone who received the order left the main hall one after another. The system with a bewildered expression still couldn't figure out what was happening. No, host, are you letting them go now? Didn't you still worry about General Ghost's strength just now? I'm glad I looked up to you just now. Don't you think General Ghost has only 9 in total? Even if it's enhanced, it will still be overwhelmed by the number of people. So why do you want them to join you in the battle? Oh. I understand, you have to personally take action and directly level off. Mohr rolled his eyes. I personally took the initiative to make more losses. What should we do then? Well. You better keep an eye on it. Then Mohr went to the library and stayed there for a month. When it was time to prepare for departure, Mohr appeared in front of General Ghost. After seeing Mohr's appearance, the Ghost Generals all knelt down and said hello. Mohr asked them to get up and then said, "I will grant you the authority of the Shadow Kingdom later, and then you can freely squander your energy. I have also added some good things to the Shadow Kingdom." After speaking, Mohr gave a cruel smile. So, the war has begun. The Ghost Generals feel the constant reinforcement from the Shadow Kingdom and are also very excited. Then they all declared it was. From then on, war broke out within a radius of 10,000 miles around the palace, but this was also the current state of hell. War is going on everywhere. No matter where else, it has been several months since I returned to Mohr. Your Majesty, the last and strongest force in this area ahead. Mohr, transformed into a dragon-like figure, lazily lay on the sedan chair carried by the ghostly soldiers. A faint response said, "Finish early so we can go to the next place." Yes. After Terra respectfully answered, she went to the front battlefield. On the battlefield, resistance forces are like sturdy fortresses, while they face black waves. Upon closer inspection, I realized that it was not a wave at all, but rather layers of ghostly soldiers. And these ghost soldiers can't be said to be the same as before. The mask that was supposed to cover the entire head now only covers the upper part. The lower part reveals a terrifying giant mouth. A tattered ninja suit, twisted body, and blue-gray skin. White to abnormally sharp teeth, arranged in a staggered manner like the mouth of a lamprey. It makes people feel terrifying at first glance, and in fact, it is indeed very terrifying. And these new ghost soldiers are known as Blood Eaters. After Terra issued the attack command, they rushed forward like a school of piranhas smelling blood, crazy. No matter how strong the defense lines of the resistance forces are, they cannot withstand the tsunami-like charge of Blood Eaters. In no time, we had already broken through the frontline defense. And the place where the Blood Eater passed by did not see any corpses or limbs, only pools of blood. Seeing this scene, the system was crazy roast in Mohr's inner world. No, you're too ruthless, right? No matter how many times you've watched it, you can't accept such a bloody scene. Mohr chuckled lightly. What's going on? You can't stand this anymore. Isn't that what you taught me? Combining the dimensional world with the Shadow Kingdom, I just added a little bit of something else to it. Are you a little bit? I'm afraid it's not a billion bit. Can your talent be added randomly? That TM is devouring. Maybe it will create a monster that only knows how to devour and become infinitely stronger. Didn't I use dimensional energy to create a body for the Blood Eater? With just one thought, they disappear, saying that the energy they consume strengthens the dimensional world and then strengthens them. The system was speechless, and Mohr was indeed thoughtful in his thinking, cutting out all possibilities of playing. Although I used to think Mohr was crazy, now it looks more like him. Thinking of this, the system also gave up. Who would have chosen him? I really don't know why I used to be an honest police officer when I was a human, rather than a crazy killer. Chapter 10. War. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Time goes back to the day before the war broke out. In the conference room of the resistance army, a roar echoed. A sheep-headed demon sitting in the main seat shouted angrily. Damn it. I really bullied the demon too much. I just didn't want to provoke him and dared to ride on my head and defecate. I must fight back. And other demons in the conference room also joined in. Only an owl with 6 eyes showed a worried expression on its demon face. The protagonist's sheep-headed demon scanned around, ignoring the owl demon, and ordered. Gather troops. I want to see what that disorderly tyrant is. After speaking, the sheep-head demon left, and the remaining demons also gathered their forces to prepare for battle. The owl demon secretly went to find the sheep-headed demon. Sir, can we really win? In the intelligence transmitted by other forces, those who don't surrender are basically all dead. I'm worried. Before the owl demon could finish speaking, as the sheep-headed demon's palm lit up with a red light, the owl demon's heart also lit up with the same light. The next moment, the owl demon felt unbearable pain coming from its heart and then knelt down. Arius, who gave you the courage? Dare to question my decision. If it weren't for your strength, you would have died. After the pain subsided, Arios lowered his head and left. Go back to the present. The front defense line has been torn apart by the Blood Eater. The resistance forces also dispatched the most elite demons to come forward, but it was only a matter of time before those elites were crushed by the blood-eating demons. Mohr watched quietly until suddenly a burst of energy shot from the side. And Mohr seemed to have known for a long time, not surprised at all. Meanwhile, Terra standing next to her lifted her hand and placed a barrier, easily blocking the attack. After the barrier disappeared, Mohr's lazy voice came over. Since we have already taken action, let's show up. I don't want to put in too much effort to pull you out one by one. As soon as Mohr finished speaking, the Blood Eater in front of him automatically separated into an empty space. Among them are 6 demons led by the sheep-head demon. One of the demons was still holding a bow that was not an ordinary object at first glance. Mohr raised an eyebrow. It seems that the attack just now was initiated by you. Before the demon with the bow could speak, a black sunburst suddenly surged under his feet. In an instant, the demon, along with its bow, turned into ashes. The other 5 demons saw a hint of fear in their already wary and hostile eyes. Chaotic tyrant. We didn't provoke you, why attack us? If you just leave like this, I won't pursue it anymore. Upon hearing the demon speak, Mohr shifted his gaze from looking at the ashes to the mutton-headed demon who spoke. Only then did I carefully examine the demon in front of me. Sheep-head with sharp teeth, red hair, wearing a suit of armor. And in Mohr's eyes, it can only be considered an ordinary energy reaction. After surveying, Mohr chuckled lightly. Still looking lazy. Didn't I already give a notice a few months ago? Either submit or die. The sheep-headed demon gritted its teeth. Damn it, don't think I'm easy to bully. Give it to me. Let's kill him together. When the other 4 demons who heard the sheep-head demon's command were about to charge towards Mohr, they were surrounded by the group of blood-eating demons that had just separated. At first, the sheep-head demon was still very disdainful, feeling that these things in front of him couldn't stop him at all. One punch can eliminate one, and the number of people in front of him is useless. After a while, I felt something was wrong. If you kill one, 2 will surround you, and you can't finish it. To solve the blood-eating demon in front of us, we must first kill Mohr. The other demons also reacted, and then the sheep-head demon's body lit up with a red light, and the other 3 demons' eyes were also covered in red light, falling into a frenzy and madness as they charged towards Mohr. Only the owl demon flashed a red light and regained its sanity, not rushing towards Mohr like the other 4 demons. Seeing this, Mohr's eyes flickered and he understood what had happened. Whisper to oneself in a low voice. I see. Burning souls to increase your own and your subordinates' combat power. But there's one who just changed his gaze and replied, it seems to be mandatory. Perhaps only the sheep-head demon had the strongest strength and rushed towards Mohr. The rest was briefly erupted and then pushed back by the Blood Eater. Watching the sheep-headed demon charging towards him, Mohr raised his hand to stop Terra, who wanted to intercept it. I'll come personally for this, it's a perfect time for the event.